الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتون إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Brothers and sisters, we praise Allah the Almighty. We believe in Him, we trust in Him. We bear witness that nothing deserves to be worshipped except Allah, and we bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is Allah's messenger and His slave. We ask Allah to bless His messenger Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam and his family and his companions, all of them. Ameen. Brothers and sisters, I'm happy to be here in one of my favorite masjids, the most beloved masjids in the country. I pray Allah the Almighty to help me to articulate on my tongue what I have in my heart. I want to remind you a verse of the Quran and remind you someone once said that the most important knowledge you can have is the knowledge of yourself. And while I agree that the knowledge of self is critical, but the most important knowledge you can ever have is the knowledge of Allah. People think they know about Allah. But I'm here to tell you today, in this masjid, nobody knows anything about Allah except what He reveals about Himself. That we get from the Quran and we get from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Other than that, you don't know about Allah. You think you do. I'm going to give you one verse of Quran. It's going to be the essence of my talk today. Allah, He tells us, "I'lamu anna Allah shadidul iqab wa anna Allah ghafur rahim." You got to know these two things. Make no mistake about it. Know for sure that Allah is strong in punishing. There are people who believe that God is so merciful, He shouldn't punish people. But Allah is warning us. You better know it. "I'lamu anna Allah shadidul iqab wa anna Allah ghafurur rahim." But on the other hand, He's forgiving and merciful. But you got to know both of them. So today I want to talk about one hadith. I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that this will be able to benefit from it. Allahumma a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa'u. The Prophet said, "Oh Allah, I seek refuge from you from knowledge that don't benefit." So you can't sit here for 10 minutes and not benefit if we give Quran and Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ said in very famous hadith, all of you know it, "Sab'a yudhilluhum Allah fi dhillihi yawma la dhilla illa dhilluhu." This is an incredibly important hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said, 7 people will be shaded by Allah in a day that there's no shade except His shade. 7 of them. Today I want to talk about one of them. All of them is important enough, but I want to talk about one of them. And you have to be like this. You know what? I gotta get this, because the Prophet is saying something really significant, alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, "Rajulun tasaddaqa bi sadaqatin fa'akhfaha hatta la ta'lama shimaluhu ma tunfiqu yaminuhu." What a great hadith. And for the record, although it says rajulun tasaddaqa, a man, it also means woman. A woman who gives sadaqah, and then she hides it, he hides it, so that his left hand doesn't know what his right hand has spent. Now, let me tell you something that happened 2 weeks ago. I'm in my office, and we were doing some work with my secretary and some money that I had spent, and I saw like $2,000, right? And I saw the agency that I wrote it, but wallahi, I had no idea. I said, what is this for? My secretary said to me, she said, "Imam, your left hand don't know what your right hand spent." I laughed for a whole week. That was so funny because wallahi, I don't know. I wrote a check for $2,000, but and I saw the agency, but why did I write to this agency? I don't know that agency. Why I do that? She said, "Imam, your left hand don't know what your right hand has done." So I went home and I told my wife, and she said immediately, she says, "Siraj, that was for so and so." I said, "Allahu Akbar," because wallahi, I didn't know. Now, let me tell you something. It's very interesting. You know, Allah mentioned Quran. Allah speaks about His book. He said, "Musaddiqan lima bayna yadayhi min al-kitab." Right? The Quran is a confirmation of the book that went before. وَأَنزَلَ التَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ. And we Allah sent down the Quran, the Injil, and the Torah. So it's the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So sometimes there's some things in the Torah and the Injil that remain, that nobody changed it. And I'm going to read something for you. You know, I used to be a Christian. There are a number of brothers and sisters here that used to be Christian. Now let me show you what I found in the Bible, subhanAllah. And they saying that Jesus said this. He said that, do not sound a trumpet to be praised by men. Truly I tell you, already you have your reward. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. Now I want to teach you a word. I don't say teach you. Some of you may not know this word. It's called exaggeration, hyperbole. Sometimes when you read something, it's not to be taken literally. It's hyperbole. It's a purposeful exaggeration to make a point. This is this hadith here. It's hyperbole. You see, it doesn't literally mean that your left hand don't know what your right hand is. It doesn't mean that, what my secretary said. But it's to give us this picture that when you give, you make sure that you do it for Allah. There's hadith about it. Yawm al-Qiyamah, person who gave sadaqah, why you do it? Allah did it for you. No, you didn't do it for me. You did it so that people could say that you are, you're a noble person, you're a giving person, you're this and that. So what the Prophet is teaching us, you be careful when you give. For a fact, you can give publicly. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. But you got to make sure that your niyyah, this is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that on Yawm al-Qiyamah, we get blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to finish this part of the khutbah with what I believe to be a fact. I always believe that when most people know better, they do better. I give an example. The Prophet ﷺ said that one of the prophets was beaten by his people so much that his face began to bleed. And the Prophet wiped away the blood and said, Allahumma ikfir li qawmi fa innahum la ya'lamun. Oh Allah, forgive my people because they do not know. This hadith here, seven people shaded by Allah on a day there's no shade, is very valuable. Today I'm only given one. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Let me give you some facts. Allah's Son that He created, a great gift for us. Consider this. 93 million miles away. The scientists say that the sun's distance from the earth is perfect. If it were too close, we burn up. It's too far, we freeze. So Allah the Almighty created the sun for us, and He put it in the right distance. 93 million miles away. And the Prophet ﷺ describing Yawm al-Qiyamah. Describing Yawm al-Qiyamah, he said that the sun will come so close to the earth that it would be 1 mile away. You said, no, that's not possible. One verse of the Quran I've come to appreciate, to love and respect. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَفْعَلُ مَا يُرِيدُ. Allah does what He pleases. Allah does whatever He pleases. Now, He's telling us that those who do this, the 7 people who do this, who spin, and they looking for credit from nobody, don't care if you even say thank you. I don't care because I'm doing it for Allah. Every human being wants to get paid. Everyone. There's no one that does anything without expecting to be paid. But who is going to pay you? If you're looking for the people to pay you, you get your reward, you get your dunya. But if you're looking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give, you do it for Allah, and you don't even look for thanks or reward from no one, but you look for your reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the things we get is on Yawm al-Qiyamah, we be in a shade, which there's no shade except Allah's shade. The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said that the sun would be so close that the people will sweat. I'll give you a word that you may not know. Whenever I get a new word, I want you to know it, okay? It's called hyperhidrosis. Probably 4 or 5 of you people, after khutbah, I want you to raise your hand. 4 or 5 of you may know this word, but the other ones will learn hyperhidrosis. What's hyperhidrosis? Hyperhidrosis is excessive sweating. That's what it means, excessive sweating. And the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said that people will sweat on Yawm al-Qiyamah according to their evil deeds. Some people will have sweat up to their ankles, some to their knees, some to the waist, some to all the way up here in sweat because of the deeds that they have done. Now, I'm going to make a confession to you. I fly all the time. You know I fly all the time like you. Every week I'm on a plane somewhere. And I confess, I love flying first class. I'm sorry. It's a major difference. You who've never been in first class, you have no idea. And the problem is that once you get used to it, you can't go back to where you guys sit. I went to Australia. If you've ever been to Australia, you know that you're in the air 23, 24, 25 hours straight in the air. And the people that brought me put me on first class. I was so happy. Wallahi, the captain got on the radio and said, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to land. I thought he was kidding because the 25-hour flight seemed like 2 hours. I'm serious. It seemed like 2 hours. I'm saying to you, there is nothing like being first class Yawm al-Qiyamah. I want you to remember what I'm saying. I'lamu anna Allah shadidul iqab. You better know that Allah is strong in punishment. Ain't no game, nothing to play with. Allah is real and His punishment is real. And you know something that's remarkable? How long will we be standing Yawm al-Qiyamah? And you're standing, right? You ain't sitting down chilling. You're standing 50,000 years. It is so bad for some people, they're saying, bring on the hellfire. I can't take this no more. Allah is real. His punishment is real. The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said, إِذَا دَخَلَ أَحْلُ جَنَّةٍ جَنَّةً يُنَادِ مُنَادٍ إِنَّ لَكُمْ أَن تَحْيَا فَلَا تَمُوتَ أَبَدًا. When the people Jannah into Jannah, you're going to get some good, inshallah, we get some good news. A caller will cry out and say, it's for you to live and never die. How wonderful that is. No more death, Allahu Akbar. No more death, no more sicknesses, no hospitals, no funerals, no cemeteries, none of that. No sickness, everything you need in Jannah. But the people go to hell. They also get the news, no more death. They don't want to hear that. In fact, we are told in the Quran that the people in the hellfire will call out, Ya Malik, oh Malik, tell your Lord to put an end to us. And it is said in Hadith that the angel Malik didn't answer until 1,000 years later. It's for you to stay in it. Khaliduna fiha, forever. Now I want you to imagine the punishment of the hellfire. Are you kidding me? Two pathetic dua that people make in the hellfire. Pathetic. Number one, put an end to us. I can't take this no more. I'd rather die. And this is true. Even in this life, the Prophet ﷺ said, Mustarihun wa mustarahun minhu. Either when you die, you are relieved of the dunya and the difficulty of this life to the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when the believer die, Allahu Akbar, it's finished. All your suffering, all your pain is finished. It's over. So these people in the hellfire, the greatest gift for them if Allah would just kill them. And the other pathetic dua, oh Allah, lighten for us this punishment just for a day. That's all I want. One day. Because the punishment is so bad. I didn't even intend to talk about the punishment today except a little bit. I'm just talking about Yawm al-Qiyamah. And the Prophet ﷺ said for the believer, the day of judgment will be 25,000, half that, 25,000 years, but it will seem like just a small part of a day, like the setting of the sun. See, I get it. So when I told you about my trip to Australia, though it was 25 hours, it seemed like 2 hours. Also, the believers on Yawm al-Qiyamah, it'd be a long time, but it's going to seem like it go like that, even like the setting of the sun. So brothers and sisters, I close with this, and I want you to consider this. The people of the world should be thankful for the Muslims and Islam. I don't know if you look around, study what's going around in the world. It's over. Arnold Toynbee, the greatest historian of our modern time, wrote a book called The History of the World. 12 volumes, thousands of pages. I want to say one thing that he said. He said, of the 22 civilizations that appeared, 19 of them collapsed when they reached the moral state that the United States is in now. He ain't a Muslim. Of the 22 civilizations that appeared, 19 of them collapsed when they reached the moral state that the United States is in now. Are you looking around? Do you see what's going on in this world? People have dismissed God. God is not even in the equation anymore. It's us, it's man. We don't need no God. God doesn't exist. And because of that, this is why the Prophet said that Allah said, Ya ibadi, qul kun dolun illa man hadaytu fastahduni ahdikum. Oh my slaves, every one of you are misguided unless I guide you. Therefore ask me and I will guide you. Word is finished because they put Allah last. Do not be like those who forgot Allah. And therefore Allah made them forget themselves. I want to read this to you before I sit down. Keep your eyes open. Don't go to sleep now. If you ever stayed awoke, stay awoke now. Because right now, the world is going woefully astray. And the ones who are put here to keep them straight are the Muslims, and they themselves are going astray. It is for real. All you got to do is look around. Look around the Muslim world. You tell me what's going on in Yemen. Tell me what's going on in Palestine. Tell me what's going on in Burma. Tell me what's going on in Egypt and in Libya and in Syria and in Iraq and in Afghanistan, Sudan, and Somalia. You tell me what's going on. And see, this is why the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said, Men tashabaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. Whoever imitates a people of them. Who you imitating? Who we imitating? Who you want to be like? I don't want to be like no one except Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's the truth. The Prophet said, Khaliful Mushrikeen, be opposite the disbelievers. But we are running headlong, trying to follow them and to be like them. Civilization is over. Unless the Muslims do something about it. What do you mean the Muslims? Because that's Allah put us to do it. Antum shuhada Allah fil ard. You are Allah's witnesses on earth. Allah know what He can do. He want to know what you are going to do. This is why the people who follow Musa didn't understand that Moses told them, go into the land. They said, فَذْهَبْ أَنْتَ وَرَبُّكَ فَقَاتِلَ إِنَّ هَاهُنَا قَاعِدُونَ. You, Moses, you and your Lord, you two, you go fight. We sit here. We're doing the same thing. God, Allah, you do it. You go take care of them disbelievers. Allah, you do it. No, Allah want to know, what are we going to do? Allah does what He please. He's looking at us, testing us to see what we're going to do. Let me show you who we follow. I was in Norway a few months ago. For the first time in the history of Norway, there are more atheists than Christians. 39% of the population atheists. Listen to this as I close. Sweden, 4,515,000 atheists. 46% of the population. Sweden. Netherlands, 6,700,000 atheists. 40% of the population atheists. United Kingdom, 25,920,000 atheists. 40% of the population atheists. France, 27,500,000 atheists. 41% of the population atheists. Germany, 30,850,000 atheists. 38% of the population atheists. Japan, 58,300,000 atheists. 46% of the population atheists. China, 1,029,000,000 atheists, 75% of the population atheists. And it's not getting smaller. The numbers aren't getting smaller. They're getting greater. It's happening here in our country. Watch. Our country right now is on a collision course. But see, we got a problem. You know the problem that we have as Muslims? You know the problem that we have? This is our country. America is our country. This is my country. I don't want my country destroyed. Why? Because the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, taught us of good and bad people in a boat. And the bad people, they want to drill a hole in the boat. And the Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, said that if you hold their hands and stop them, you save them and you save yourself. But if you let them go, you destroy them and you destroy themselves. If my neighbor's house is on fire, if I don't put the fire out, it's going to be in my house. All those things that you see happening in the broader community, it begins to happen in the Muslim community. Drugs out there, major problem. Drugs in the community, Muslim community. Every kind of corruption that you see on the outside, you will see in your masjids, you will see in your homes. Unless we do something about it. It's our interest as Muslims to do all the good that we can for ourselves. I encourage you every once in a while when you give it. Hide it. Don't let nobody know. And then you get your reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah the Almighty to strengthen us, to guide us on the straight path. We ask Allah the Almighty to soften up our hearts and to guide us into Islam. We ask Allah the Almighty to forgive us our sins and have mercy upon us. We ask Allah the Almighty to help those Muslims, those slaves in Yemen. Ya Allah, your slaves, they suffer. Help us to help them. Oh Allah, your slaves in Syria and in Palestine and in Burma and all over the world, we ask Allah to help those Muslims in China who suffer. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أطعنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملت الذين من قبلنا ربنا لا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بالحمد لله رب العالمين إقامة الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون إن الله يحب الذين يقاتلون في سبيله صفا كأنهم بنيان مرصوص وإذ قال موسى لقومه يا قوم لم تؤذونني وقد تعلمون أني رسول الله إليكم فلما زاغوا وزاغ الله قلوبهم والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين وإذ قال عيسى ابن مريم يا بني إسرائيل إني رسول الله إليكم مصدقا لما بين يدي من التوراة ومبشرا برسول يأتي من بعد اسمه أحمد فلما جاءهم بالبينات قالوا هذا سحر مبين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. كل نفس ذائقة الموت وإنما توفون أجوركم يوم القيامة فمن زحزح عن النار وأدخل الجنة فقد فاز وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع غرور. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. اللهم أنت السلام. Brothers and sisters, take 10 seconds. 10 seconds. I was here about 2 weeks ago. You did a fundraiser for the Muslims in Yemen. You are incredible. This masjid here, really, I'll be honest with you, I go all over America. This masjid is like there. You can be proud. We raised over $200,000 that night for Muslims in Yemen. Every time there's a need, this community always do it. So I just want to just take that time just to thank you. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum. How you doing? Good. You want this? I know.
I have two advices.
Wait. Let me turn this off.
Please don't refer to human being as Habib.
Don't do what?
Don't refer to human being as Habib.